Good evening and welcome to For the Record. 2015's only just begun and the Fiji Police Force is already off the ground running with major operations and some achievements that they are looking forward to this year. To speak about what we can expect from the force in 2015, we have with us in studio the Chief Operations Officer, ACP Rusiate Tunravu, and the Director Legal for the Fiji Police Force, SSP Sakio Raikadi. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here with us tonight. And we'll begin with what's the latest in the force right now, Operation Sasamaki. It seems to be a major effort by the Fiji Police Force from the reports we are getting and the information coming out of the Kandrove where the operation is being run. ACP Tunravu, it seems that there's a big force going out there and uprooting all these marijuana farms. What's the overarching theme behind this operation?
Well, getting rid of marijuana is one of our main focus this year. At the end of last year, we have recorded a number of arrests, especially in urban areas on the marijuana. So, looking at the analysis part of it, we came out that the farms are out there. That is why people have been arrested in town for it. So, with the informations coming through from the members of the community, our crime prevention committee, we have managed to focus on some of the areas, and the area up in the north has been identified as very critical for us, and we have the information that is already there, and the community are willing to assist. So that is what our intention was to make an impact on the ground as we kick off 2015. For the people to know that we are mean business in terms of our fight against drugs, and that is when we plan to start off with our Operation Sasamaki in the north.
It's just about a week now that the operation's been underway, and already there are more than 1,000 plants that have been uprooted. That was yesterday, and then in an earlier raid there were 850 something plants uprooted. 4 people have been charged already. Given the magnitude of what's being found in these farms, in these raids, what would you say is the magnitude of marijuana cultivation?
Well, based on the approximate number that we have received so far, based on from the day 1 up until the 3rd day of the operations, we have approximately have 3,978 marijuana plants that are with us now in custody. So that speaks volumes of the farms that are out there. So it is a matter of concern, and should be also a nation concern to all of the members of the community. If this is what has been uprooted from the farms in the concerned areas up in the peninsula of Buda and Natewa, then we are very serious into getting rid of the farms that are still pending out there, which we will look into it in our future operations.
One of the things that's been done this time around is that there is an analyst on the ground. This never happened before. The samples used to be sent back to Coronavia for testing, and then charges would be laid. Who is this analyst? What sort of expert are we talking about? And what does that person do in these raids? Director Legal, could you?
I think that's correct. During this drug raid in the Northern Division, the Fiji Police Force, we have sent our government analysts down to the ground to ensure that whatever has been all the marijuana plants that have been uprooted. So the testing is done on the ground. Before, the practice that we used to have is to send all the drugs that were seized from the division to Cornivia. So the process is a little bit long. The simple reason why we are sending this, our government analyst, this is a police government analyst. We are sending her down to the ground to make sure that we complete the cycle as soon as possible, so that the testing can be done on the ground. Whatever report that has been identified from the drugs, so because the charges will be laid based on the outcome of the testing. So if the drugs were brought to Cornivia, then it will delay the police investigation from laying charges. That is the simple reason why we are sending down our government list to the ground, to ensure that we charge the suspect as soon as possible.
What sort of delay would you face previously if the sample was sent to Coronavia? Are we talking about 3 days, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks?
Yes, sometimes it takes 1 or 2 weeks for the report to be returned to the station.
And during this time, the suspect would be out on bail.
Yes, before what we used to do is the suspects were interviewed and the interview was suspended for the drugs to be sent across to Contribute to be tested. Once the result has been obtained, then the result is positive, then definitely we'll try to locate the suspect for him to be charged and produced to court.
So you have to go out and look for the suspect again. Were there situations where the suspect would abscond or would go into hiding? Was that a problem as well?
Absolutely. That will make the police work more harder.
So with this new initiative that's come in, will this be applied everywhere in every raid that the police conducts, major operations?
Yes, that's our new approach to drugs.
ACPD Tundravu, one thing you said was that there were people arrested in the capital, in Suva and Viti Levu, and the raid is being conducted in Vanua Levu. That tells me that there is a transportation route for the drugs to be brought from Vanua Levu into Viti Levu where it's sold. Are you investigating that as well?
Yeah.
How is it happening?
Yeah, definitely we are looking into it. It's just like a chain reaction in the things that are currently occurring. So there is a farm, there are people that are selling it, buyers out there in the urban center. So this is, it will all be covered in our investigation. What we are trying to do is to uncover from the farms, those farmers that are doing it, and then those that are selling it in the urban centers and outlets that are there. So we're taking it from the like a total operation that we are currently undertaking is taking in totality from the farms to those that are selling it at the various outlets that are out there in the urban centers and around Fiji. So we try to rope all these people in as we continue with the operations.
It's a very limited means of transportation. It's either by sea or by air. So obviously you would have your people on the ground already.
Yeah, certainly we have our surveillance team that are already there, our intelligence that are working very hard on this, and based on the informations and also from the assistance that are coming out from the members of the public, we managed to conduct these successful raids.
How have the villagers accepted the police force? Previously, when there were raids conducted, in one instance that I know of, police officers were sent away from the village. There was a confrontation because the villagers didn't want police to conduct their operations and uproot all these marijuana plants. What's the acceptance this time around?
There's a lot of change in mindset. I would like to extend a great appreciation and deep appreciation to the members of the community, especially to the areas that are known for this. We have noted a lot of changes in the attitude towards assisting police officers. I think the successful raid up in the north, more than 50% of the assistance rendered to the police are from the community that are out there, who identified the farms, who gave in the information, who also assisted in the tracks, identifying the tracks. Some of the villages, they even cook meals for the police officers that are out there in the farms. So I can say that there's a lot of support that we are receiving from the members of the community at large.
All right, with that we will take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to For the Record. We'll carry on with our discussions. SSP Raikadi, with this new system of analyzing the drugs on the ground, the marijuana is analyzed by an expert. What processes are involved? Because it was my thinking, at least, that it would have to go to a laboratory when they would do some sort of chemical exams on it. Is there some sort of kit, police forensic kit, something that goes out in the field?
Yes, the same equipments that are going to be used in Cornubia. So when we send our government analysts across, we send this going along with all the testing equipments. This is
a new investment by the police force, I take it. Can you tell us a bit about what sort of mindset came into this?
This is one of the ways that we want to get rid of our cases as soon as possible. Because before, when we just wait for the drugs to be sent across to Cornubia, like it take days for the government analysts to do or to conduct the testing. So the results will reach the station after 1 or 2 weeks. So at that time, it will make us a little bit more harder to try and go and locate the suspect for the interview to be completed and also for the charges to be laid.
ACP Tundravu, the raids that are being conducted in Vanwalevu, some of the people who were charged in Savu Savu, they appeared in court, they seemed very young, almost teenagers. This is something new. I mean, previously, when there were drug raids, when people used to be charged, they were grown adults, some who seemed like they'd been in the business for a while, but now it seems the younger kids are getting involved in marijuana cultivation. 3,900 plants, as you say, and very young people, possibly teenagers, have been charged. Is that something that's a concern?
Yeah, it's a concern, a real concern for us because of the age group that they are in. Almost all the rest that we have made it is so far is 20 to 30 in those brackets, the youths. We have noted that, and it is part also of our research and analysis in trying to find out what is the reason behind it. Might be unemployment or exposure to like the technological openings that are here in Fiji, where they might all learn more about all these things. So these are some of the things that our research team will be looking into, just to assist us in trying to get the other like component part of rehabilitation. Try not only investigation, but look at the causes. The causes why they have to resort to this. Given the number of awareness that we have done, we have really spent a lot in terms of our awareness with other government departments on the against the drugs. But still, they continue to do that. There must be some driving force within it. So this will be done in our investigation and also in our research, just to find out. But they are the very people that will be in a better position to state to us the reason behind them, knowing the serious implication of that to the health of a person, but what is the driving force behind it? It will be very interesting to know.
I believe that that will be the case. There was Kayasi a couple of years ago, the Kondrove this time. What's next?
Okay, as I've stated, 2015 is one of the year that one of our focus areas is a fight against drugs, marijuana. This is only not internally. We are also strengthening our border and our people that are out there. So we have information that we have with us on other parts of Fiji, and you'll hear a lot of our operations coming up. So it is, I can confirm now that we'll be moving to other parts of Fiji in the near future.
SSP Rekadi, when it comes to prosecution, there's a range of penalties and possibly imprisonment that people can face for marijuana cultivation. In a nutshell, could you explain what sort of fines we're talking about?
Referring to our Drugs Control Act, the Dangerous Drug Act, it clearly specifies the penalty that must be imposed by the courts. According to our Drugs Act, anybody who has been found guilty for possession, harvesting or cultivating drugs, the sentence is a fine of 1 million or a prison term of life imprisonment, or both. That is where the judges and the magistrate will have to refer to before imposing the right sentence.
So the maximum someone can face is $1 million fine and life imprisonment.
Yes.
And that's the possibility that people face today for this crime. And that's, I think, something that needs to go out to the people, isn't it?
You can clarify because they base on the grams, that is there within the drug itself. That is where they base their sentence. So it will vary based on the number of grams that are identified through the analysis. But
yes, that is what the law says, and there is a guideline of sentencing which the court used to follow. They categorize, there are 4 categories. It depends on the weight of the drugs, or the pure of the drugs. So the first category is from 0 gram to 100 grams. So if anybody is being convicted for any drugs which has the purity for the weight of the purity of the drug is from 0 to 100 grams, basically the tariff for the sentencing is mostly they give fine or community work because of the little amount of drugs in that. Whereas in the second category, the weight of the drug is from 100 grams to 1,000 grams. Basically, the theory for that is 1 to 3 years. So when somebody is being found guilty or convicted for in possession or cultivating or whatever, and the weight of the drug is between that range, then definitely the court will impose a sentence either from 1 to 3 years, based on the aggravating or the...
And it continues to escalate as the grams
Yes.
increase.
Yes, the third category is from 1,000 to 4,000 grams, and the tariff sentence is from 3 to 7 years. Whereas for those that are above 4,000 grams, the starting or the tariff for that is 7 to 14 years, if anybody is found guilty by the court.
All right, thank you very much for that, SSP Rekadi. Let's move to another drug bust that was in the headlines recently, the seizure of heroin at the airport. Now, there have been previous incidents where the police force has been successful in catching people trying to use Fiji as a transit point for hard drugs. This latest heroin bust has shown once again that we have the capacity to tackle this sort of international crime. On the ground, what sort of growth do you need to see in the police force in order to stay one step ahead or two steps ahead of these criminals?
Firstly, I would like to extend appreciation to our border control unit that are already there. Given the limited resources that they have managed to at least identify drugs that are coming in. We have to note that the origin of these places where the drugs are being transferred from are very developed countries. Even with the sophisticated equipments that are there with our police force international counterpart, yet the drugs still manage to get through their borders. And I think it is a great effort that are done by our border control agencies in identifying this. Given the additional equipments that can assist them, I know that we will continue to strengthen our guard on our borders, both land and sea. But the training is already there. A couple of more exposure in terms of training, and given the support that will be there in terms of the equipments that is needed, I think we are right on track. Taking into consideration the position of Fiji and the development that has already been done, given our location within the Pacific, there is no doubt that we are the hub of the Pacific. There is a lot of movement in terms of land and sea, and our effort also in this area is what that we are concentrating into, just to strengthen our border security.
ACP, we will take another quick break. We will continue discussions in a moment. Welcome back. We're speaking with the Chief Operations Officer, ACP Rusiati Tundravu from the Fiji Police Force, and Director Legal, SSP Sakio Rekadi. SSP Rekadi, now we were talking about how Fiji has been successful in combating transnational drug trafficking. In these instances, when we do have a drug bust or when we do detect illicit drugs being taken through our borders, of course there are certain legal frameworks and laws that our officers would need to understand as well. Is there some sort of ongoing training to keep them up to date or up to par with the laws that apply?
Yes, we have plans ahead in regards to upgrade or elevate the standard of our police officers in terms of understanding the law, because we know that law changes, and it is very crucial for all our officers who are on the ground to ensure that they can read and they understand the law, because when it comes to implementation, and that's why it's very important for them to know the law, and there are plans ahead for the Fiji Police Force to try and organize training for the men on the ground, for them to understand the law in terms of doing their their duties.
But has it presented some sort of obstacles in previous incidents where applying the law, understanding the law was a problem, or were you able to manage?
Yes, in the past, definitely we have some difficulties. But I think in the last cases, mostly when they come into something like in the issue of law, they used to call me online and I have to advise them or give them legal advice in regards to the way forward.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't happen as much anymore?
Yes.
Okay. Well, ACP, still talking about transnational crime and illicit drugs, the forensic unit at the Fiji Police Force obviously would be the go-to people. They would be the very people who the force would turn to in these instances. We've noted that there has been continued investment and money allocated for the forensic unit. Do you feel confident that you now have a capable forensics department?
Yeah, it is one of the new divisions that we have lately developed, and I thank the government for their support and the way they look at the capacity building within the organization, because these are some of the support elements that we need to have in terms of our investigation, like blood sample, testing at scene of crimes, specimens that are out there. We have a chemist lab that is already there, especially the testing of drugs. Once they are confiscated or seized at the airport, our analysts, they go in just to like a recheck or just another check mechanism on the machines that are already there at the airport. So it's very encouraging, and it is supporting operations on the ground for us to have a supportive equipments that can assist us in terms of, given the complexity of the crimes that are now encroaching into our shores. As I've stated, that the development of the government is already going at a very fast pace. Given that crime also, and the transnational crime follows that road of development. So the police force has to posture itself in order for us to meet the trend that is coming in. And the development at our forensic lab, which is situated at our Fiji Police Academy, is one of the legacy of those leaders that have gone past, who have the ideas, and we are just following up in the strengthening of that. And given the legislation, which we are also recommending for with our legal advice just to support us on that, I think we are well in line in terms of policing our country.
In regards to the latest drug bust, the $30 million drug bust in Nandi, if I can ask you, apart from the general scheme of the force, I'd like to get an update on what's actually happening with this investigation. One local and one expat have been charged. Investigation was ongoing last we heard. Do you expect any more arrests? Do you feel that there are more locals involved?
Yeah, the information is that we have received that our team is still working on it. It depends on the angle of investigations that are currently working on. Our effort is trying to unearth the people that are involved locally, if there are people here, and also their link overseas. And also to be noted is the assistance of our counterparts from the Interpol and other police agencies that assisted our team, especially our investigators in the investigation and the passing of information from one country, from one police to another. So this has assisted us a lot in the last drug bust that we have met at various borders.
It's quite discouraging that locals are involved in this, but it wouldn't really be possible unless there was a local connection. Is that a fair comment?
Yes, yes.
How do you go about telling people, because they possibly get lured by big money and big rewards? How do you combat that?
Yes, definitely, yes. The amount that's involved in these drugs, but we do not normally encourage talking about the monetary value of things that are illegal. So taking into consideration the what we have done in getting people apprehended and taken to court. These are some of just the avenues that we have, legal avenues, just to get them to court, and we hope, on the hope that the court will deal with them as per the gravity of the offenses that have been committed, so that it can be a deterrence to them, for the people to know. Given what was done by our criminal investigators in trying to get these people quickly to court, that is like a deterrent to the people, for them to know that we are not sleeping. We are there watching activities that are currently going at our borders.
SSP Raikadi, for this sort of crime, obviously it would be handed over to the DPP's office to prosecute. But so far as your team is concerned, what sort of penalties are out there for people involved in the importation of hard drugs?
As I've alluded earlier on, the category of sentencing, it will depend on the weight, the purity of the heroin.
So it applies. The same applies to various sort of illicit substances. Are we talking about, if we talk about marijuana, and then you have methamphetamines, and then there's heroin, various other types. The same methodology applies.
Yes.
I see. And there would be more severity applied to say cocaine, or in this case heroin, because the purity is much higher than marijuana. Do I understand correctly?
Yes. Like for heroin, like in this case, we have to wait the amount that was seized, and we have to find out how the percentage, the purity of heroin in that drug that was seized. See, for example, back in 1999, you know that the drugs that were seized by our border control agency, the one that's supposed to go to Australia for the game that was held in 2000, but it was seized by our border control unit. So in that case, that the accused person, once he found guilty, he was convicted for 12 years imprisonment, because the sentence was based on the purity of that heroin. So in that heroin, in the drugs that was seized, it contains 75% pure. That's why the court imposed a sentence of 12 years imprisonment.
All right, thank you for that. And it is time to take another break. When we come back, we'll find out about the police efforts to control the restrictions on the Suva foreshore after the sewage spill. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. We're speaking with the ACP Chief Operations Officer for the Fiji Police Force, Rusiate Tunravu, and SSP Sakeo Raikadi, the Director Legal. ACP Tunravu, last night we had reported in our news that police officers were seen, they're out in the harbour, along the Suva harbour, policing it, and people who are going into the water are being taken out, and they're being told to stay out of the water. This is because of the sewage spill that's happened, and the entire area from the Rewa River all the way to the Suva harbour have been declared a no-go zone. Of course, this is putting strain on your officers, who could rather be doing some other police work, because people should be following the advice of the government, adhering to the restrictions, and not going into the water in the first place.
Yes, I have already mentioned this on a number of occasions, on people not adhering to the awareness and instruction given by government departments. This is for their own benefit. It's not for anybody else. We did not really, from the start, implement arresting people. To me, arresting people is the last resort. People themselves will be responsible, be law-abiding citizens on the things, because it's of national interest to us. We have noted fish that are already dead there. So what else we would like to prove? So in the couple of days, because the declaration came out in the weekend, what we did was just an awareness, warning people. But I've already stated to the divisional police commanders on the ground, if they meet those people again, they have to be arrested. This is something that we really need to be hard on. There's a lot of changes in, I've noted on people, but it's very sad to note that some of the educated people that are also out there, and people saying that they do not know that there's a declaration in place. That is a no-no to us. When the government has stated anything, and all of us here in Suva knew this, So we were a little bit did not really enforce just because of the awareness part of it. And then right now the message is very clear to our present people on the ground. Should anybody be found again, then they have to have them interviewed and a normal process to be taken.
It must be quite disappointing for you, because you would rather have your officers carrying out some other police work which is more urgent or more necessary?
Yeah, we still have our presence in place for the Christmas and New Year. Given the nature of the declaration itself, you see, we are exposed to the risk. This is something that, let me say, it burdens my mind all the time when our police officers are exposed to all this. As a leading agency in terms of enforcement, we are trying our best to equip ourselves, our police officers well. But if we can go that far, risking our police officers at that in those affected areas, I hope that the members of the community do adhere to the request that has been made. As I've stated, last resort is arresting people. At least we should teach ourselves just to be law-abiding. That will be better for all of us, just to educate ourselves. Once the awareness or the directive is given out, not only in this situation, weather bulletins, flooding, flash, all these things have been out there in the news and all the media outlets. Yet people continue, and it will burden also the police officers in terms of our resources. There are other areas that we would like to deploy our policemen on the ground, urgent, really need urgent attention. But we are diverted to this, and yet people continue to disregard the basic rule of law.
Director, ACP has basically set the rule that people found along the foreshore in Suva will be arrested and they will be charged. That means you would have told your prosecution officers, if there's any such case, take them to court. Of course, that's a natural chain of events of things. What would happen in court? Would a fine be implemented, or are you going to seek some further punishment?
Yes, it will be depend on the sentence that comes along with the declaration. I think that will be, it's something like a fine. It's not just a fine.
2,000.
Yeah.
All right. Gentlemen, I'd like to move on to the issue of common crime trends, prevalent offences that are noted. Over the years, there's been ups and downs so far as prevalent crimes are concerned. ACP Tundravu, what's the situation on the ground today?
For the past 3 years, on criminal offences alone, criminal front, there's a notable decrease in terms of the overall crime trend in the country. From 2012 until 2014, there seems to be a decrease in almost 12% overall crime rate. But our focus is on the serious crime, offences against women and children, and theft and assault seems to be the prevalent offences throughout the country. That is in the last 3 years.
Theft and assault, meaning these are the most common?
Yeah, theft, especially in the rural areas, and also in the urban centers. Houses been vacant, burgled into, assault based on liquor related, and also relationship amongst couples.
What would you classify as some more serious offences which would be more notable to the public? And what's the trend there?
Yeah, home invasion is one of the notable serious crimes that we have seen so far. But as we go further into the analysis part of it, there are opportunities there. People just gone past and have seen that the house is vacant, and then they went. Especially in the corridor of Vale Levu, Samambula, Nasino areas in Suba. And also in the west is from Nandi, Namaka areas, a little bit of Lotoka. So these are the areas that are of concern to us in terms of home invasion, and also a few vehicles that were parked, and then there was a theft of motor vehicle. It is noted that our effort in the last couple of years just to reduce serious crimes.
What about violent home invasions? I mean, there used to be a time when people would take pinch bars and screwdrivers and assault homeowners.
It continued to be registered, but not on a daily basis. As I've stated, that this is we are trying to get the fear out from the members of the community and the business community at large, for them to feel safe here in Fiji. So the focus of the Fiji police was merely to try and get these planned robberies controlled. So we cannot really be policing all the opportunities that are going out there. But we managed to do that in our operations. But from other areas, this is where we are receiving other complaints, especially on the assault. And assault are something that is caused from the tension within the family, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, all these things that are registered. But our investigation is very hard on trying to get a zero tolerance on this.
And with that, we will take another break. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back. This is basically the end of the show for tonight, but we have a few more minutes with our representatives from the Fiji Police Force, and we'll continue discussions. When we talk about prevalent offences, theft and assault, these sound like, well, let me rephrase my question. Is it something that happens new every time, or is it something that involves people who are known to the police, who have been involved in these sort of offences previously?
Well, theft and assault, it's really people that are, as I've stated, opportunists kind of moving around, and then you've noted that there's a lot of theft in the rural areas too. This is in regards to root crops theft, Dalo and Angona. We have recorded a lot of reports on that. I don't know what's the cause of it, laziness or what. People cannot plant and then they resort to. But in assault is mostly domestic violence. But repeated offenders, we have noted that in our past reporting, again this morning, it has been highlighted that also some of those that are committing offense now are those that are already been convicted, those that are, their case are in court but they are on bail. These are some of the, also the people that are committing offences in the other categories, burglary or rape or any other cases that have been reported with us.
And Director Legal, as the ACP mentioned, a lot of these offenders, repeat offenders, are out on bail. Surely that must be putting more strain on prosecution, because you have an individual who's already offended once, they're out on bail, and then they're reoffending.
Yes, this I agree to that. Like we have experience and noticed while prosecuting cases, when an offender being released by the court to be released on bail. So when they are out on bail, they reoffend, they commit. So when they are arrested, another new charge laid, it is brought back to court. So it adds to the burden of the prosecutor in terms of prosecuting cases. So the volume of work of the prosecutors is increasing day by day, because most of the offenses, they got, like, for one offender, he has about 3, 4 or more charges, more 5 files against him. So those are some of the disadvantages. In fact, under the law, they have the right to be bailed under the Bail Act. So that is, it is difficult for the prosecution to object bail in court, because they also have their right under the Bail Act to be bailed.
If you could recall, if you could give me a rough estimate, what's the maximum files that one offender you know of has had? Maximum offences that he's been charged with, maybe?
Like in some cases, for those known criminals, a maximum of 5 to 10 files.
5 to 10?
Yeah.
While on bail?
While on bail.
Okay. Well, ACP, reoffenders, obviously it seems that something's not working. Maybe prison terms, or it's just that they've fallen into that lifestyle.
Yeah. I would not say that it's not working. A great effort has been done by the correction department, also from our side. One thing that we really would like to work on is the the mindset of police officers. From the investigation point of view, and also part of the rehabilitation, in trying to look at most of these well-known criminals. They fully understand that we look at them differently. So when there's an offense committed in a particular area, they are the first people to be in line with the investigation. Having said that, we also, the police has a lot to play in rehabilitation part, or in assisting our correction. But having said that, there's no doubt that people are also living in a sort of a life cycle of committing offenses. You need an outside force just to breathe in a fresh air into his mind, and so that he can get out from that cycle. It seems to be there all throughout his life. This is a fact, and people are within this cycle for proven record with the correction and also with us.
You mentioned that police look at reoffenders differently. In a situation where a reoffender isn't guilty, hasn't committed an offense, and is approached by officers or is under the spotlight, of course there's the issue of rights and stigma involved as well. I understand you're retraining officers.
Yeah, this is one of the areas that we are trying to also factor in the police officers' mind. As I've said, we are focused much on training, on investigation, finding fault on people. But if people are educated enough, especially police officers, to know the law themselves and the requirements of any investigation, rather than going to the conclusion, looking at people on his record, not based on the evidence that is there. So this thing will continue. Reoffenders will continue to say that police officers are against them all the time. So once we have that mindset in place within us, just to not look at the rehabilitation part too, that this will assist a lot in this cycle that we are in, especially for those reoffenders. There's a lot to be done for them once they are in the correction system and they are out there. Not only the police, but also the community, their families, and there's a lot of effort to be done in order for them, for us to understand, sympathize with the life cycle that they are in, and for us to assist for them to get out from the areas that they are currently thought that this is abnormal in terms of their living.
Just towards the end of the show, ACP Tundravu, what's the level of professionalism in the force now with all the reforms that have taken place?
We are not at that professionalism that we would like up at the headquarters level, but much effort has been done. There's a lot of improvement. As we move forward, there's a lot of gaps that have been identified in the process and system. A lot of training has to be done, on-the-job training on the performance of our men on the ground. We have noted that there's still complaints against our service, complaints against our action to the members of the community. But I would say that I've been the force for the last 30 years. There's a lot of changes that has been done. And I would like to put on record, because if you have the political will that is there to give us the leeway on trying to enforce the law, and have the capability that are provided to the Fiji police, and the condition of service that is there, all these things will come automatically to any police force of any country. So I hope that, I know that we are there, and there's just a little more push from the management down to our members of the Fiji police force to see what is stipulated under the law and the functions of the police, and we maintain that. I think we are right on track.
ACP Tundravu, thank you very much. Director Legal, thank you as well for being here tonight. Gentlemen, I think we've had some very fruitful discussions, and we hope to have you again on the show in due time so that we can spread some more messages to the people. Yeah. And with that, we end tonight's show. Remember, if you have comments or questions, you can email for the record at fbc.com.fj. That's our show for tonight. We'll be back again next Sunday. Until then, good night. Record.